Welcome to the next chapter of World's Longest Suicide Note. My name's Roger, and I'm suicidal. And this is my suicide note that I hope to continue writing until I die naturally. I am suicidal at times. I deal with that, and I like to wring my hands a lot, apparently. But what I am not is a mental health professional of any kind. So, yeah. And the last couple chapters, I've been talking about talking in various forms. Talking about your suicidal ideations with other people, letting them know how you feel. But today, because inevitably what happens is once you start talking about suicide with other people, not suicide with other, once you begin talking with other people about your suicide journey, inevitably what will happen is people will come to you and they'll say, hey, I have a friend, colleague, brother, sister, ex-girlfriend's roommate, whatever, who's dealing with something similar, or who's going through a really hard time and has said that they maybe want to kill themselves, and could you talk to them? And that is, for some people, would be a very, terrifying situation. Like, you want me to talk about this to somebody who's suicidal? And so today we want to just talk. I want to talk briefly because I talk to a lot of folks who are suicidal, and if you're open and people know what you go through, that it will just happen at some point, because most folks don't really know how to do it themselves, and so they defer. I'm like a living YouTube video of understanding about suicide, so it makes sense to, kind of consult somebody who lives with it, and so that will happen. And you need to understand how to talk to somebody who's suicidal. And that's a weird thing to say to somebody who's kind of going through that themselves. I mean, obviously, it doesn't, but it's a different thing when it's someone else. You talk to yourself all the time. You can tell yourself things. You could be pretty harsh, and you are pretty harsh with yourself quite easily. I mean, but when it's someone else, you're like, oh crap. You fall into that what everyone else seems to want to do about suicide, and that's like not saying, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I've said this before. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Mostly because I forget what I say. I forget what the first 12 chapters are about. So obviously I'm going to repeat myself ad infinitum. Yeah. You can't say anything wrong. If it's coming from your heart, if your heart is leading you, you can't say anything wrong to somebody who's suicidal. Something that's going to make them immediately leave the room and jump off the nearest building. That's not how that works. We are not, as suicidal people, one of the misconceptions is we're just looking for an excuse, a reason to kill ourselves. And any reason will do. So if you say the wrong thing, or if you phrase or you use bad grammar, we're going to kill ourselves. And that's just how it's going to be. It's not. But again, so if you have the opportunity to talk to somebody who's going through a really hard time, who professes to or claims to be thinking about suicide in any way, shape, or form, say what you're going to say. I mean, literally say it. Especially if you're living it too. Build a bridge of common experience with the individual. And I'm talking about this because I had coffee with somebody yesterday who's suicidal, and I've talked to them before, and they seem to be a little bit more in the fight, more consumed by that, and so that is something to address. And I don't hold back, especially with people I've already talked to. We get into it and we talk, and it's good for both of us to do that. So we don't talk about how they're going to do it. We don't get into that. They need to communicate with another person. That's what's important, and that's what I'm hoping to provide is a communication. I'm not trying to I'm encouraging them for self-care, to always seek proper medical advice, and if they're in crisis, to make the appropriate call. And that's always something that's said. And we say it, I think sometimes we say it to, as I told them, blah, 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 in case something happens. But there's been a couple times where the conversation stopped and the going to the hospital started, because I felt that at that moment in time, that individual was in a really dark place, and I couldn't leave them alone. And so it's like we're going to the emergency room because this is beyond my ability. This has got to a place where this is imminent now, and that's the way I feel. And it's how you feel. If you're talking to somebody and they're saying, "Oh, I'm fine," but in their eyes they're saying, "As soon as you close your mouth, I'm out of here." And so sometimes talking doesn't get it done, and you have to take the next step, which is immediate medical intervention. I mean, psychiatric, but and you don't hesitate. It's the emergency room. It's not, well, let's make a call and get someone on the phone. No, let's take them immediately to the emergency room. And if they fight, they fight. And if they demand that, because you can't kidnap them. That's against the law. If they won't go, then you can't make them. That's the thing, is you can't. If they have zero desire to stay here, they're going to leave. It may not be this immediately. But understand that no suicide watches don't even work in jail, where people are locked up. So sometimes that's not even something that works if the person is, can't leave, can't do, doesn't have access to things. So what do we expect that we are going to be able to do long term? If they don't, and I've been around a couple of these folks that there's literally nothing that can be done. Too little was done, and it was too late, and they couldn't pull out of the tailspin, and it was just unfortunate for everyone that was a part of that. That's a part of that situation. So we do what we can, but having conversation is the best thing. And having conversation, I don't try to make it a big deal. I try to minimize the impact of what we're talking about, and meaning I want to make it comfortable, because I don't want to talk just about suicide. I want to talk about their lives. I want to talk about what's going on, what's not working out. Is there a way we could look at changing the dynamic of that situation? That's what I'm focused on, getting them thinking other than at suicide. Oh, hey, there's other options than suicide. I don't know if you've thought about these. Let's talk about them. Offering them things, and then talking about the self-care that they need to initiate. When with an assumption they're coming out of that hole. That's the whole idea. Keep it to a place where there is hope. Because one of the things that leads most people down that path is feelings of hopelessness, isolation. Sometimes they just need someone to know how they feel. Just like you do, just like I do, just like everybody does. But when we're in this state, it's really hard because most people don't understand what we're going through. So just know, if you are asked to talk to someone, by all means talk to them, because it's going to do you good. You're gonna get something out of it. Oh, what did I just knocked something over because everything's so tight. I was just going to get me a drink of coffee. Understand, you're not there to save a life. You're there to talk to somebody. And whatever happens from that is going to happen. But don't feel the pressure. There's so many people who just suicide, clam up. That's not that. We can't do that. We're and I understand. I'm gonna get in some trouble here maybe, because we're peer support, but we're not like official peer support. There are official. You can get training, peer support training, and actually be a peer support person for someone that's going through tough times. But that's what the role that we're playing in this at this point. We're coming in as peers, people dealing with things ourselves that have perspective on this situation. And so you absolutely have the right to engage, and you should. Now, that's not an official designation. I mean, unless you've been trained, you're a trained peer support person, which I highly recommend. Go find an agency who does the peer support training and get it, and then volunteer. because that, I think, is a very critical thing. And, it's something that is sought after by people who don't really know how to communicate themselves with their, so I do encourage that. But the idea that you're going to say something wrong, that is something that has to be overcome. It all starts with just the basics. Somebody comes and says, "Oh, I'm suicidal myself." The first thing I say is, "I'm very sorry." Or someone says, "Oh, me and you we're traveling the same path, I guess." "Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Would you like to talk about it?" And just keep it easy when they because you're going to be talking about heavy stuff, because a lot of people, they're dealing with. It's not that they had a bad day in Disneyland. It's that something horrible happened, or they feel terrible things, and they feel like they are losing their endurance, and they're scared, and they're worried, and they're depressed, and they're anxious, and all of the above. Kind of like us. So it's just about, I get it. I fully understand, and I have been there. So let's chat. Let's talk. And be comfortable. Because what happens is when somebody acts different, when they just, when you're talking to them and the vibe just changes, like, oh, it's stigmatizing. It's plain stigmatizing for us that have to do that, because the vibe just changed, the energy just changed, and it's my fault, and now we're dealing with this super heavy situation. So don't let it be. It's a Tuesday afternoon, and I'm having coffee with somebody. It's Thursday morning, and I'm hanging out with a friend who's going through a hard time, and we're just having coffee and chatting. I mean, it is what you make it to be. So don't make it a big thing. And again, you're there to facilitate a conversation and steer them to the healthy, away from, they're going to talk about darkness. They're going to talk about dark things, and you're going to allow them to express themselves, and then you're going to give them some of your perspective, and that's cool. But don't. And then one of the most important things before we wrap this up, what time is it? Oh yeah, it's getting on time to wrap it up. Understand that this is going to be triggering for you. It's not particularly like you. Something like. But when you put yourself in that, you can't carry their weight. You can't live their depression. So you have to make sure that in your self-care, if you're talking to people and you're talking about these heavy things, the idea that it won't impact your own situation is silly. I mean, it's going to. So you have to be aware of where you're at, and if you're in a bad place and somebody calls and says, "Don't do it," push it off, send them somewhere else. You can't sacrifice your mental health for someone else's, and I can't say that enough. I've been down that road. I thought I was doing fine. Thought I was like, oh, I am the peer support master. I'm helping people. I'm keeping them here, and it's just, I am amazing at their energy will find you, and if you're not careful, their evil will latch on, and now you're going to be in a dark place too. So guard your energy. For me, I use it kind of as self therapy for myself too, because I get to have a conversation, which is good for me. Conversations are bread and butter to our existence. I mean, thinking about that, it's like you probably want more than bread and butter. Anyway, conversations are good. Keep them healthy for you. As soon as you start taking on other people's burdens, personally, it'll drain yours way faster. It's like a battery. If you have a battery pack and you have one phone or one thing, it could go for a while. You can keep something charged up. You put 2 or 3 devices on that charger, it's going to drain, and then no one's going to have a charge. So keep that in mind, and only talk to other people when you feel ready, when you feel like you have something to offer, and it's not going to put you in a bad place. And do everything with love. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. Do things with love. I personally don't think there's anything greater that we can do when we're dealing with these things is give other people hope and strength and advice and encouragement to get through their hard times. Just like, some of us didn't really have that. We didn't have someone helping us through that. And so we know how important that is. So understand what you're doing is very important, and just keep it up. But always stay in the fight, and your mental health comes first. And then once your mental health is taken care of, then you can help other people. So, all right, but don't be afraid to talk. Our next chapter will not be about talking. I'll be talking, but it won't be about talking. All right, and we'll see you then. Have a great day.